and welcome into the Robbie Coker Show. I'm Logan Wright, and with me is head basketball coach Robbie Coker. Great to have you here today, Coach.
Thanks, Logan. Always good to be here, man.
Great basketball weather we're having outside. It's freezing, so glad this is an indoor sport at least. 'Cause I hated playing in the cold in football or tennis and the other sport. I always felt like tennis, it was always snowing, but we'll go ahead and jump right in. Tell us about the DAR game.
Sure. We shot the basketball extremely well. Obviously, set a school record with 21 threes. To make 21, you have to shoot a bunch. We shot 49. That's still 43%. That's certainly a great three-point percentage. We talk about good shooting teams having great passers. 25 assists could very well be a school record as well. Very impressive display of making the extra pass, creating open opportunities for your teammate. The AR ran some zone defense, some 3-2 and some 1-3-1.
You guys love when they run that zone.
Well, I mean, if you let Kobe Tinker stand in that corner,
Yeah.
There's a good chance he may go 11 for 20. So just a great job. I really thought our guys did a good job of finding the hot man. Those guys got excited about Kobe's chance to break the school record. I think Danny Wright had made 10. Kobe made it 11. So those guys were looking for him and finding him. He kind of got in the zone. He made 6 in the third quarter. And he was shooting it well, no question. But our guys' ability to create open opportunities for him and to find him, wherever he was at, they were looking for him, and I'm sure he appreciated it. But it was just an overall good team win. I thought we played good defense. Our pressure kind of overwhelmed them. Forced a lot of turnovers. They turned it over 28 times. Just another one of those wins where all of our guys really played well. Obviously, Kobe had the hot hand, but I think everybody scored in the game. So just another good team win for us.
Know that Tinker is a very, very dangerous shooter, especially when teams, play zone like that. But I'll tell a story real quick. I told you a little bit about it before the show. So I go in Walmart the other night, and I turn around, and half of the B team is all laid out right there on the right when you walk in the door where the crane machine, all the little tattoos and stuff are. And I was just walking by, and I was wondering what those kids were doing, and I stopped and realized who it was. And I get over there looking, and they're all laid out on the floor, and they have a coat hanger, unraveled up inside the claw machine. Look like they're trying to break into a car window. And I said, "What are you guys doing?" I was thinking, Coker is going to kill y'all. Turns out Tinker has went and put $1 in the machine and won a $50 gift card to Walmart. So I guess his luck didn't run out. So he wins the $50 card, but then it drops over to the side of the machine, and it's stuck right there. So if you go to the Fort Payne Walmart, there's a $50 card stuck in the machine right now. And I asked where Tinker was, and they said, well, he had a curfew and he had to be home. And I thought, there's a good kid.
He has his way of getting into things for sure, so it doesn't surprise me at all.
You mentioned Dana Wright holding the record. I was actually there that night when he broke the record. I can remember, watching that team. Dana was a great player, just like Tinker when he was younger, just as well. And he was a great baseball player. He went and played college baseball, but he was also a great football player. He could kick a 30, 40-yard field goal, never played football in his life. And I can remember the coaches telling him that he could come and play football and he wouldn't have to run if he would just kick, and he never would do it. But we'll jump on to the next game. One I'm not so happy about, but we'll talk about the Gunnersville game real quick.
Sure, man. It was a good game. I know the score don't show that. It probably surprised people with my comment, but it was a great game for us. It was a high-level game. Two good teams battling. They're so skilled. They do a great job. Our pressure really doesn't bother them very much. We had a little spurt there in the fourth quarter where it did, but Jeffrey got in foul trouble. Luke Graham, I bet Luke Graham didn't play 6 minutes the entire game. He picked up 2 fouls, maybe 90 seconds into the contest. We missed some easy ones. We missed some free throws. Missed some layups that we usually make. Obviously, give them credit, their length, their speed. Obviously, they're contesting those shots. But I think we were down 5 or 6 at the half. We actually were up there in the first quarter, down 5 at the half. And then in the third quarter, just back and forth, they outscored us by 2. And then to start the fourth, we made that run where we cut it from 9-3, and Jeffrey's got the ball. He makes another steal. Caden gets his hands on it, and on the inbound play, and we get the ball in Jeffrey's hand 3 feet from the rim to make it a 1-point game. Hard left-hand layup. Obviously, those two kids, CJ and the Hampton kid, contest. He kind of misses a layup. They go down and go back on a 9-0 run to push it back to 12, or maybe even to 13. Jeffrey hits 2 more threes, cuts it to 7, and then I don't think we score the rest of the game. And I think they end up going on a 15-0 run there to end the game up 22. But it was a high-level game. We fought and we clawed and scratched, but the 3 ball obviously wasn't falling for us. We shot 22% from 3, 6 of 27. Like I said, 24 of those are great shots for us. We want to shoot all 24 of those again, tonight. We rushed a couple, and it was a 7-point game right there at the end of the fourth quarter. Then we took a couple quick ones, and if they go in, you're a hero, but they don't. So, and then when we extended our pressure, obviously Gunnersville took advantage of it. We started trying to make things happen as we got behind, and they're a good basketball team, and all 5 guys on the floor handled the ball, and they shot a lot of layups on the other end, and they got away from us. But it was a good game for us. I thought it was a very competitive game. I thought we both teams traded shots, did some things, counter actions. It was a good basketball game. To the last 5 minutes, obviously they knocked us out.
You mentioned Jeffrey hitting a couple clutch threes right there. One thing that I think Jeffrey does very well, he does a lot of things very well, but one thing I've noticed, he does a very good job of controlling momentum. Even going back to last season and watching, going to Geraldine, in the finals, Geraldine does something good or another team does something good, and they really don't even have time to celebrate. That momentum doesn't even really get to switch because, just like Sylvania in overtime, or to go into overtime, he drives right down, pulls up a 3, and, he's very effective on that little step back, and he knows when he needs to do it. That's the thing that's not very common in players today. Jeffrey doesn't take very many dumb shots.
Sure, no question. And for our team to really excel, he probably needs to take a couple more shots. He's a very unselfish young man, puts the team first, and really enjoys creating for other guys. But I think it's obviously a fine line. You don't want a ball hog, but I think that he could take a couple more shots probably each game, and his teammates and myself would be happy with it. He tries to play the perfect game. He's a pleaser. He gets us in our stuff. He does a good job leading our team, and like you said, it seems like when we need a big shot, he's there to take it. And like you said, he's really good off that flat ball screen, late in quarters, late in games, making the right play and getting his feet. I always say, your shot, it's a good shot based on your feet, and he does a great job of getting his feet set, coming off that ball screen, getting square to the rim, and knocking that thing down.
And Jeffrey, he's a great all-around player, and you don't see that a lot today, but he's one of those players, he's going to get a lot of minutes. He spends maybe 1 to 2 minutes on the bench each game. He's a great basketball player. But, he's gotten in a little bit of foul trouble lately, and,
Sure.
That's going to happen. It's a game of basketball. And Luke Graham has also been known to foul. I think when it really plays effect is, like you said, when Luke and Jeffrey.
Well, Jeffrey, the deal, Luke's an effort, energy guy. He needs to get 3 or 4 fouls a game. I mean, it's a thin line, but we want him being aggressive, attacking the rim, trying to get offensive rebounds, blocking shots, protecting the rim. He's going to get in foul. I mean, he should be 3 or 4 fouls every game. Obviously it's got to be at the right time, right place. Jeffrey's deal is it's kind of a. It seems like he gets a bad whistle. I mean, it's crazy as that sounds, but he. On the front of the press, he gets a little aggressive sometimes, gets his hands on them. I've really tried to challenge him not to get cheap ones, especially early in games. Try to, play safety first. But he does a good job pressuring the ball, and sometimes he gets overextended and gets his hands on them, they call it. I thought he did a great, he draws charges. So when he draws charges, sometimes you're going to get called for a block. It's just one of those things, but his skill set for us is, he's our really only true point guard. We've got 2 or 3 guys on the team who've played the point, but he's our true, point.
Yes.
And our offense doesn't click as well when he's out of the game. We can get guys that can make shots. We get guys that can make plays, but it just seems like our flow.
Kind of like a general.
Yeah, it's like our flow is not as smooth when he's out of the game. Mm-hmm. So we certainly need him to stay out of foul trouble. And like I said, it's a thin line because we want him to pressure the ball. We want him to take charges, but he just has to avoid those cheap ones, especially early in the game.
No, we'll go back to the DAR game real quick. Tinker puts up 38. How do you think RTI feels about Tinker? Because I think he's gonna have to go put in some hours on the weekend.
Yeah, no question, man. RTI splash zone's been it's been good for our program. It was kind of an idea about in Major League Baseball you see the K corner, and they hang up the Ks every time somebody gets a strikeout. I thought it could bring some excitement. I knew he was going to shoot a bunch of threes. RTI has been unbelievable, as their support of Plainview Athletics and Plainview High School. Mm-hmm. So, I thought it was an opportunity to maybe get them some more recognition. I don't know if they need it or not, but we're extremely proud of what they do for our programs, and I thought everybody would be looking down there, obviously, see the RTI.
I love watching the little kids. Little kids are the best part of the ball game. They take off running, they get the three and they stick it on the thing or whatever.
No question. I originally envisioned that being Jake Black, and jumping 8 feet up in the air and slapping it on the wall. But our little guys have obviously taken over that duty. But Tinker shot it really well. Did a great job. But of the 11, 9 of them were, nobody within 5 feet of him. Yeah. Somebody driving to find him, or somebody having a good shot and turn it down so he'd have a great shot. And then once he got in that zone, it was his turn to come out. You guys know I sub pretty freely. And I looked at a couple guys on the bench and said, Tinker's a couple away. We're going to let him chase it or you may pull him out. And of course, all the guys, oh, coach, you got to let him shoot it some more. Of course, he obliged. He kept jacking them. But, he's worked on his game. What's crazy is when he first become involved in our program, he was more of a slasher.
Yeah.
I always thought his shot was broke. We'd have to work on his stroke, but he could really dribble and get to the cup. And he started making threes as a 7th grader. In big games, it's crazy things you remember. I think we were like us and Fife were both like 6 or 7-0 that year in 7th grade. It's supposed to be a real game. He comes out in the first half, it's like 4 threes, it's like 28 in the first half, and wins the game, And he's got that knack for making big shots. He's done a great job for us this year, coming out in the third quarter, and starting our offense back up. Mm-hmm. It seems like he's made some big threes in the third. So, and he'll be the first to tell you, our guys do a great job of getting him open and delivering the ball and giving him an opportunity to make shots. When you make 3-pointers, it takes more than one guy. Somebody usually setting a screen.
Yeah,
somebody's usually making a shot or making a pass. And then for us, I tell our guys all the time, if we're going to shoot that many threes, we have to get a lot of offensive rebounds. And most of our guys, most times we have 4 guys crashing the glass, and it's, you shoot 49 threes, but when you have double-figure offensive rebounds, that's okay. Mm-hmm. So it's a total team effort, and obviously he was happy to be the guy pulling the trigger 20 times.
Definitely, and we keep talking about making that great pass, and we talked about Jeffrey, how we called him kind of like a general on the court, but another unsung hero on this team definitely would be Cade Willingham to me. He hasn't shot the ball as much as he probably should, or he has in the past. But to me, he does a great job, setting the defense up and staying calm.
Cade Willingham's a guy that you want on your team, yes. No question. He's a team first guy. Plays extremely hard. Plays. He gets hard rebounds.
I thought he did a great job rebounding at Jacksonville last year too.
He did. He did a great job rebounding at Jacksonville. The Hoover game this year sticks out in my mind. He's not afraid to draw first blood and really fight for the ball. Plays very physical. Does a good job for us, no question. His role sometimes is changing. And he, like you said, he don't shoot as many threes as the rest of the guys, but he does a good job of attacking the rim. He does a good job of starting our break. Yes. He'll get a rebound and start dribbling down and find the open man. Cade's a very important part of this basketball team, no question. they all are. But you're right. A lot of things he does doesn't show up in the box score. He's just a winner, a competitor, and a guy that you're glad that's on your team.
We're still talking about the Gunnersville game. We shot 22% from beyond the arc, and that's very strange for this team. We're usually a very high percentage shooting team. You're going to throw up a lot of threes. What do you think the reason for that was? Was their defense, their length?
Obviously, when you play better teams, they challenge your shots a little faster. Obviously, that comes into play. Kobe goes 11 for 20, and the next night he goes 0 for 5.
Yes.
I look at the other. Cooper goes 1 for 6. I remember 2 or 3 of those were wide open. Caden goes 1 for 4. So, it's the right guy shooting the shots. We talk about all the time, it's a good shot when it leaves your hand. You can't really control the result. We just have to continue to take great shots and trust each other and trust our hard work. And if you're open, let it ride. Of those 20, the percentage say 6 for 27. I bet we missed the last 6 or 7, maybe 8 of the game. Once we get behind double figures, I think our guys really start focusing.
It's hard to judge from the stats.
Yeah, so I think we were probably 6 for 20 at one time, which is not a great percentage certainly, but it's also not, it's not 22%. So it's just one of those nights, man. Give Gunnersville credit. They're long and fast. They're all guards. They double in the post, so they kind of and they fight the front, so they kind of make it hard to throw it in there. And if you do throw it in there, they double the post to create turnovers and kind of hurry your big. So it's a style we don't see a lot. They're probably the only team that matches us up. They're probably more athletic at every position than we are. So it's just one of those games. If you'd have told me with 6 minutes to play was going to get beat 22, it'd been hard for me to fathom that. It was a 3-point game with 6 to go, and Jeffries got the ball, 3 feet from the rim. They did a great job of taking advantage of us, having to pressure them. Once we got behind, they did a great job of getting those long rebounds off those threes and throwing it ahead. They scored 25 points in the fourth quarter. We gave up 30 in the first half.
Yeah.
So obviously the game got away from us, and they made us pay for it.
Definitely. Basketball season, it's a long season, and you play a lot of games. Football, like 10 regular season games maybe with a bye week and, maybe a playoff run. But basketball, you play a lot of games, and games like this are going to happen where, shooting percentage is lower, and, you just have to keep playing, like you said, and shoot through it. But Plainview's sitting right now 4 losses.
Sure.
And 3 of the 4 have came on the road. Do you feel like playing on the road is a factor, or?
First off, look at those 3 teams.
Well, they're not really on the road. Some of them were neutral ground. But
you got Madison Academy, the best team in 4A.
Yes.
You got Gunnersville, who will have a great shot to go to Birmingham in 5A. Is the 3 losses you're talking about. And then obviously Jordan's a good team that beat us in the Coliseum. I just think, if we'd played Madison Academy in the Civic Center, they probably would have beat us too, or that night, the way they played. Obviously, you feel more comfortable at home. But no, I don't think that where we're playing has anything to do with those results. That would be a disservice to those teams.
Yes.
I think that we shot it extremely well at Jacksonville the day that Gunnersville beat us. And we shot 38% from 3 that day. So we shot it well at UAH. I think we shot 38% that day as well from 3. So I don't think the arena has anything to do with those losses as much as the team we were playing, the level of competition. It's a thin line. Basketball is a roller coaster season. It's not a sprint, it's a marathon. You're going to have ups and downs. You're going to play better this week. You're going to play worse that week. There's a lot of variables. Guys get sick. You've got foul trouble. You play different. Some guys play zone. Some teams play man. There's so many variables in the game of basketball that when you start measuring your worth on the way you shoot the basketball, it's dangerous.
Yes.
So, I don't buy into the, where you're playing gives it a problem or we're in a lull. I don't believe in stuff like that.
Yeah.
I believe that, it's a long season, and the teams that continue to work to get better, the teams that don't let it become mental, that show up every day and do the same things over and over again, come February, will be
Yeah.
be the team still playing.
Yeah, definitely. I hate to keep talking about the losses, but we go back and look. Madison Academy, when you guys played them, Gunnersville, when you guys played them, and JSU, those are both great teams, and they really played. They really filled out their potential in those games. Those teams, really had great games. And, both those games are really close.
Sure.
You talk about how great those teams are, not to take anything away from those teams, but Plainview's in both those ball games.
Sure, I mean, I think that Coach Carr or his team would not take offense to me saying, we felt like we should have won the game at Jacksonville. We're up 7 with 4 to play. We missed 3 free throws the last 90 seconds of the game. One of them in front of 1-1. And we give up a layup at the buzzer to their best player. So they made the plays to win the game, but like you said, I think they felt they were very fortunate to win the game.
Yes.
And then I talked to Coach Blackson after the Madison Academy game. We were up 7 in the third, tied with 6 minutes to play, and their guys made big shot after big shot, got key stops, took some stuff away from us. And Coach Blackson was extremely excited about that win. He told me to. It's one of the best games they played all year.
Yeah.
And I don't think he was just making small talk. We don't know each other like that. I think he meant that. He was excited with that win.
Yes.
So obviously, you play good teams, you're gonna get beat. The reality is that if you're gonna compete, you better learn to handle losing.
Yes.
I mean, nobody enjoys it, nobody likes it, but it's not called winning; it's called competing.
Definitely.
And we're right where we need to be. I don't really worry about our record. Obviously, we want to continue getting better. We got a big week ahead of us this week. It's the grind of the season. Between the county tournament and the area tournament, sometimes it's a lull.
Yes.
Because the county tournament's so important here. Then the area tournament, everybody knows is important. So these 2 weeks are kind of sometimes, seems like you're just going through the motions or trying to survive these 2 weeks to get to the area tournament. But good teams, teams that want to be great, realize the opportunity, realize that this thing is it's coming to an end, and there's not much time to get better.
Yes.
You better take advantage of your opportunities.
Plainview, continues to improve. I think, you can tell after, certain losses how they came back. They rebounded. I think that's a mark of a good team. But you brought up the area tournament. You guys have a great record right now, and you guys have played so far. But like you said, once you hit that area tournament, the record doesn't count for anything but the yearbook.
That's right. Everybody's 0-0.
Yeah.
It's all about that. It's all about the every game you play is the biggest game of your life from that point forward.
Survive and advance, basically.
That's right. It's a 7-game tournament.
So we'll go ahead and we'll move on to the 5th game. Just tell us a little bit, how that game portrayed out, and
Sure. We came out. We jumped on them earlier. Our press gave them some problems. Give them credit. They got back in the game. They made some shots. It's one of those games that I think we led by 7 or more the entire game, but they're competitors. We couldn't knock them out. They did a good job of answering. We would push it to 13, they'd cut it to 9. We'd push it to 16, they'd cut it to 7. It was one of those games that we were in control of, but we really never could knock them out. You guys know they're strong and physical. They rebound the ball well. They're going to run through screens. At the cup, it's going to be a collision. There's nothing free and easy about it. And their physicality and their toughness obviously kept them in the game. So it was just a hard-fought game. Coming off the night before we had Gunnersville, it's just one of those late January games that you have to figure out a way to win the game, and that's what our guys did.
I thought Tinker, played extremely well. Like you said, I don't want to say the kids were tired, but coming off a hard loss like that, it's going to affect you at some point. But I thought that Tinker played extremely well. I also thought that Clay Cooper, he got a good bit of minutes coming back.
Sure. Kobe obviously shot it well again. He is shooting the ball well right now, and he also he's really grown as a defender over the course of a year. He's getting better at that part of the game. He's so long. He's got to use that to his advantage. he's not, he's not physically intimidating because, he looks like an 8-iron.
Yeah.
But he has a good length. He has good ball skills. He's very instinctive as a player. He's getting better defensively for us. Once again, the guys somehow, some way, continue to find him. I think our guys see that he's shooting it well, and they find him on the break, and they try to get him good shots. It's becoming, everybody we play, they're trying to run him off the line.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a three-point shooter. I think he's developed that reputation around here. So as the guys run him off the line, he's having to drive the ball more. He's having to create for other guys as well. I really think our guys are doing a good job handling that as a team. And then Clay is getting back closer and closer to 100%. He's still got to turn loose. I think he needs to just turn loose and play. But he's showing signs of being the Clay Cooper that we expect him to be. Yeah. And he's another guy that is a good facilitator. He creates opportunities for other people. Very instinctive player, man. Very instinctive. Does a great job of on the press and recovering back to where the ball's going to be. He really sees the floor well, and he's a guy that has to get going for this team to reach its potential.
Yeah, you mentioned his defensive ability, and I think he's one of the players. He can guard the full length of the court, and what I mean by that is you see it a lot of times. Somebody picks somebody up at the other 30-point line. They kind of just wave at him as they go by. But he does a good job. You used to always yell at us about finding a spot on the floor and beat him to that spot and then play defense. And I think he does a really good job of that as well.
He does. He draws a lot of charges. He runs to where the ball is going to be. It'll be a 3-on-1 break, and he'll be the guy recovering, trying to get back into play, and he'll take the perfect angle. It's just stuff like that you can't teach. He does a good job of being very instinctive. And then on the offense, it seems like he always makes the right play. If it's a wide open three, he takes it. If somebody else is a little more open, he just reverses that ball so fast. It seems like that ball, the ball doesn't stop when he gets to Clay Cooper. He does a great job of moving the ball or making the right play and helping our offense get in a better flow.
I'm really glad to see him, picking up a bigger role as he gets healthier and healthier. And I was texting him last night, and I was like, "Oh yeah, Annabelle put up 30 and against Fife." And he said, "Oh yeah, she had a great game." And I said, "Yeah, I'm gonna make sure that her picture gets in the paper." And I said, "You want your picture in the paper?" And he said, "You better not put me in the paper. I only had 4 points." So me and Clay have been friends for a long time. But you mentioned that press, that affected Fife a little bit. I thought Plainview did a good job. I don't want to say the press was getting beat early, but they kind of learned they could just throw it back to the inbound guy. And then, Jeffrey and, even Clay at some point, realized that we started picking off that third pass, that second pass after, Caden comes back. I thought they did a good job of that.
Sure, we tell our guys, try not to get beat the same way 3 times in a row,
Yeah.
If, adjust. I try to give them guys some freedom to make plays and freedom to adjust on their own. And obviously, Clay and Jeff both are guys that have good instincts, like you said, and do a good job of not leaving their man open for so they can go play 3-on-1 on the other end. But they got to where they were reading that pass and adjusting well.
Definitely. And mentioned Fife's strength. I'm gonna say they were kind of like my senior year, had a good bit of football players out there that just happened to play basketball. Peyton Anderson, Seth Benefield, you mentioned how strong they were, but Fife does have some athletes like that. We talk about Benefield. He goes 0 for 3 to start with. I was like, man, why does this kid keep shooting the ball? And then he comes back and hits a few clutch shots. And I thought he was really effective. But
sure, he come in the game. He's got a great stroke and just a competitor, man. Those guys are competitors. They do a good job of competing and obviously. Their toughness and strength give us problems on the inside sometimes.
Definitely. I think we're out of time here, but we thank you guys for watching the Robbie Coker Show.